Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, an investigation is underway in the fatal plane crash in Plano on Tuesday. A Matagorda County sheriff was arrested over the weekend after a gun went off inside his family's home. The charges he faces coming up. And we have a date and time in the reported hostage deal between Hamas and Israel. The latest update up next.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We have the cloud cover and a little sprinkle activity, but you can see all that's going away. We should be clearing out tonight, making it a little cooler, but the next couple of days are going to be very nice. We'll have all the weekend forecasts coming up in just a moment.
Plus, hundreds of Victorians had Thanksgiving dinner at the Salvation Army. I'll have the exact number of visitors. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia and James Munoz had the day off. Former Matagorda County Sheriff's Office Patrol Sergeant Stephen Riddles was arrested in connection to a disturbance where a firearm was discharged inside his family home on Sunday morning. The Bay City Tribune reports the 47-year-old Riddles was arrested and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. His bond was set at $200,000 with conditions that he not interact with the family members. One of the boys inside the home at the time was reported to have minor injuries, including redness on his face and scratches on his arms. A small airplane crashed outside a diner in Plano on Tuesday, killing the pilot days before his 88th birthday. Here's more.
Vera was pulling into the Hobby Lobby parking lot when he first saw the airplane. The dash cam on his car captured it, upper right part of your screen. And as a private pilot himself, he was worried.
As I was pulling into my parking spot, I noticed the aircraft took a sharp left turn. And then from there, I went to nosedive, and then the black plume of smoke, unfortunately.
Radio traffic with the tower at Addison Airport gives us a clue what might have gone wrong. The pilot, now identified as 87-year-old LZ McDonald from Maricopa County, Arizona, telling air traffic controllers that the runway at Air Park might not work for him.
Coming in from the north of you, northwest, and my destination was the Air Park, Dallas Air Park, but I'm afraid it may be too dark for me. I'm going to have to fly over it. I may have to come to Addison.
If you want to come to Addison instead, just let me know. It's up to you.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
Then he begins the 5-mile trip to Addison Airport instead.
Remember 04 X-ray. I had a hard time hearing you before. I couldn't tell if you couldn't spot Air Park or not, but it is behind you now, directly behind you, 1 mile.
Yeah, I'm turning around and let's see if I can find it.
Several minutes later, the tower tries to reach him on the radio again, but the pilot doesn't answer. At 5:48 p.m., the plane had already gone down.
We'll also be looking at the pilot, the history of flight, the pilot's history, pilot's hours, and etc.
The pilot was just days away from his 88th birthday, but NTSB investigators will also scour the airplane wreckage to see if any mechanical problems might be to blame.
This was very, very difficult to witness.
While witnesses and investigators pray for the family this pilot leaves behind.
And now let's take a first look at your First Warn Storm Team forecast. Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis joins us now. Look what's going on outside on this Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving, Mac.
And same to you, Don. We're working, but that's okay. We have a lot to be thankful for. We're still standing is one of them, and that's good. Well, we had the cloud cover and a little bit of light rain that came up from the valley overnight, but that is all pulling away rapidly. As a matter of fact, by tonight, we'll be seeing some stars, and the next couple of days will be okay. It's a problem is Sunday. Now, Sunday is the day everybody drives home. I've got rain on that day, so we'll be talking more about it in just a few minutes. Don, back to you.
Mac, thank you. The FBI has ended its investigation of a car wreck that killed 2 people at a border checkpoint in Niagara Falls after finding no evidence it was a terror attack. The FBI's decision ended a tense period of high alert as Americans headed into the Thanksgiving holiday. Police are now handling the case as a traffic investigation. The vehicle had raced through an intersection, hit a median, and was launched through the air before slamming into a line of booths and exploding.
Confirm it come from the U.S. side. We'll also say that we have a subject in mind We're fully running him down to find out who he is. We do not have any derogatory information on this person that we've identified. We don't have any. We're scanning his social media. There's nothing there. We're still running a full investigation, so that's a preliminary assessment.
The identities of those in the car were not released. Now onto the conflict between Israel and Hamas. A temporary pause in Israel's war against Hamas and the first release of hostages is set to happen on Friday. Qatar says the 4-day ceasefire will begin Friday morning and the first hostages will be handed over a few hours later.
The temporary ceasefire in Gaza now hoped to be just hours away. Qatar's foreign ministry saying the 4-day pause is set to begin Friday at 7 a.m. local time. Then the first hostages will be released later that afternoon. Under the terms of the deal, 50 hostages held captive in Gaza, women and children, are to be released. In exchange, Israel to free at least 150 Palestinian prisoners, all women and minors. The deal, reached Wednesday, was mediated by Qatar, Egypt and the US. Senior administration officials telling ABC News President Biden has been very hands-on in the hostage negotiations, urging the Emir of Qatar to press Hamas to accept the deal and urging Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do the same. During the pause in the conflict, Israel agreeing to allow hundreds of trucks of much-needed humanitarian relief, medical aid and fuel into the besieged Gaza Strip. This 22-year-old student in Gaza telling ABC that aid is desperately needed.
About the food, we really eat one meal every single day because the source of food really very expensive right now, and it is not everywhere. I mean, the food.
Israel's government says it's received an initial list of the names to be released and has notified families whose loved ones' names are on it. The first 13 hostages are to be handed over on Friday and at least 10 more each day until the 4-day pause in the war expires. Israel signaling that ceasefire could be extended up to 6 days more if Hamas frees more hostages. 3 Americans are reportedly on the full list, including 3-year-old Abigail Moore Idan, though it's not confirmed if she will be among those freed Friday, which is also her birthday. Patrick Reevell, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
Houston Airport Systems reported an incident on Wednesday after a private jet bumped into another plane parked at Hobby Airport. The incident happened around 10:45 a.m. Video caught one of the plane's nose on top of the wing of the other aircraft, but there was no damage. The incident did not impact any airport operations or happen on the runway. Because of this, no ground stops were issued. No one was reported hurt. The city of Victoria has called for a special election for mayor set for February 3rd. The city will host an informational session next Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Just show up at the City Council Chambers, 107 West Juan Lynn Street. Interested applicants will learn more about the duties of mayor. Jeff Bouknight formally resigned to run for the District 30 State House seat. The deadline to file for a place on the ballot is December 4th. A Victoria holiday tradition continued today. The Salvation Army of Victoria hosted its annual Community Thanksgiving dinner. About 275 people were served a meal that included grilled pork chops, green beans, potato salad, green salad, and desserts. Residents could also take home goodie bags with potatoes and bread. For the first time in 4 years, the Salvation Army of Victoria dinner was held in its main office at 1302 North Lewis Street. The Texas Farm Bureau's annual price survey shows the average cost of a classic Thanksgiving dinner is slightly more expensive than a year ago. The El Campo Leader News reports the average cost of this year's Thanksgiving feast for 10 in Texas is $61.89, or $6.19 per person. The average cost of the same meal last year was $58.81, or $5.86 per person. The survey shows that Thanksgiving meal is about 25% higher than it was in 2019, which highlights the impact high supply costs and inflation have had on food prices since before the pandemic. The next major campaign for the Salvation Army of Victoria starts tomorrow. The Red Kettle campaign will be in 4 places in Victoria, including both Walmarts, Sam's Club, and Hobby Lobby. This year, the Salvation Army has red kettles at the Walmarts and the Brookshire Brothers stores in Cuero and Hallettsville. Last year's Red Kettle campaign in the Crossroads raised $65,000.
And we hope that you would, when you're passing one of our red kettles, that you would help us to continue with our mission for our Life Enrichment Center, our feeding kitchens, our food box services, our shelter, and helping people with rent and utilities and all that we can do. We need your help with that.
And the Salvation Army starts that Christmas kettle program tomorrow, and it will run through New Year's Eve. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. A chemical fire caused by a train derailment in Kentucky was extinguished. Authorities are now determining when residents can return home. Also ahead, a box truck driver in Houston was saved this Thanksgiving morning after he was found hanging from an overpass. Operator CSX said a chemical fire at a Kentucky train derailment that caused evacuations was completely extinguished. In an email, a CSX spokesperson said authorities and other leaders were evaluating when to encourage residents who were displaced to return home. 2 of the 16 cars that derailed carried molten sulfur, which caught fire after the cars were breached. It's believed the fire released the potentially harmful gas sulfur dioxide.
So the incident that occurred here was a spill of molten sulfur, and as part of the fire reaction that occurred, a release of sulfur dioxide. And that was measured at the spill site, and that is one of the hazards that continues to be measured and monitored around the spill site to ensure that those levels are removed as part of the response.
The CSX train derailed around 2:30 p.m. Wednesday near Livingston, a remote town with about 200 people. Residents of the town were encouraged to evacuate. It's unclear when they can return. Midcoast Family Services is hosting a presentation for parents to keep children nicotine-free. It's next Thursday, November 30th at 5:30 p.m. It will last about an hour. Just go to 2010 North Navarro, Suite A. For more details, call 361-541-4098. Keeping food safe from foodborne illnesses is important. The CDC says every year, tens of millions of Americans get sick from foodborne illnesses, leading to an estimated 128,000 hospitalizations and 3,000 deaths.
There's a lot for which to be thankful, but as you count those blessings, make sure safe food is one of them.
Food can contain bacteria, and if it's not properly handled, that bacteria will multiply and people can get sick.
It all starts with a turkey. If the bird's frozen, thaw it in the refrigerator, not on the counter. Cook it thoroughly using a meat thermometer on 3 areas of the turkey: the breast, the innermost part of the thigh, and the innermost part of the wing.
At each of those spots, the thermometer should read 165 degrees Fahrenheit.
The USDA does not recommend stuffing a whole turkey, saying it increases risk of cross-contamination. But if you choose to stuff it, don't do that the night before. To prepare the stuffing ahead of time, the agency says to mix the wet and dry separately and put them in the fridge, waiting to combine them until you're ready to put the stuffing into the turkey.
Just like we need to be safe when we prepare food, we also need to be safe when we store it.
Use smaller containers, allowing the food to quickly cool down. The USDA says Thanksgiving leftovers are good in the refrigerator for up to 4 days. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
One driver in Houston has a lot to be thankful for this Thanksgiving after he was rescued from his box truck that was hanging off an overpass. The whole rescue was caught on video. A team of 25 first responders assisted the driver from a box truck dangling off this overpass this morning. The driver even played a part in his own rescue. He left with only a few minor injuries and his life spared just before the holidays.
That's one lucky guy, so I know he's got a lot to be thankful for. Well, folks, we did have a little light rain this morning, but all of that is pulled away. This cloud deck you see right here is going to be gone by tomorrow. Looking for improving weather, although it's a little chilly out there, 57 right now. We only managed to get up to 58 as a high temperature, but by tomorrow, it'll be about 65 to 68. So yes, a little bit warmer, and we'll have all of your weekend forecasts coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. Whether you've eaten or not, it should be all right. We did have a little light rain this morning. I got sprinkles on my windshield, but all of that is now pulled away. In fact, the cloud deck, if you look to the south, you can see how it's about to clear. So we're looking for clearing skies tonight and slightly warmer temperatures for the next couple of days. The reason is this thing is moving out, and that is going to be replaced by the south wind coming in off the Gulf of Mexico, and that is going to be improving our weather, at least getting us up to almost 70 degrees on Saturday. However, the next big thing is right here. This is the big storm for the weekend. This is a snowstorm, and it's real important if you happen to be traveling. Of course, it's up in the Midwest. This system's going to go up into the Appalachian area, but this one is the one that's really going to affect a lot of people. Right now, as you can see, the winds are turning. They were northerly a couple of days ago. Now they're slowly turning, and by tomorrow they'll be out of the south. In fact, they're actually being turned by that storm in the Rockies. I'll explain that to you someday. Here are the forecast highs for tomorrow: 67, a couple of 70s down south. Overnight lows obviously not as chilly. And here is the rainfall total. Yes. Okay. Now Victoria didn't get that much, right about there, but you see the brighter greens. That means somebody got up to half an inch of rain in some spots. So we did get something around the area. It wasn't a lot, and it is now clearing out. So tomorrow I don't expect any kind of rain at all, nor on Saturday. But Saturday night and Sunday, things get real complicated as that storm moves out of the Rockies. This is a winter storm. This is a big one. In fact, much of the Rockies are under winter storm warnings already. Right about here, well, let's see, there's Denver right about there. So Kansas, Nebraska, they'll be looking for 6 to 8 inches of snow coming in overnight and a very strong wind. So anybody driving to that area of the world is going to have to deal with that. For us, our overnight low still will be on the cool side, getting down into the mid 40s, but there you see all the rain moving away. As a matter of fact, even Houston is beginning to clear right about now. All the rain up there up toward the Lufkin area. So here is the long-term view on Future Tracker. You can see that by the time we get to Saturday, the storm is dropping down into the plains, and for us that means we get a big strong south wind. And so on Saturday, actually Sunday morning early, about 2, 3 in the morning, the frontal system will start approaching, and that's when we have our maximum chance of rain. Any snow for us? No. Maybe up there in Dumas, Texas, they might get some, but then it blows out of here by the time we get to Monday, and well, by Tuesday, we should be back to milder weather. So let's take a look at your day planner for those of you in Port Lavaca tomorrow. 53 in the morning, 68 in the afternoon. A little bit of cloud cover, but clearing, a little bit more sun than certainly than today. Tomorrow, 45 in the morning in Cuero and 67 in the afternoon. A little bit more sunshine certainly than today. So take a look at your forecast, because this is important. The mild Friday and Saturday. Big Saturday night, midnight, when I think the rain is going to arrive. Sunday looks like a very wet day, 40%, windy and cold. And that's the day everybody drives home. So just keep that in the back of your mind for your traveling plans. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Don.
Mac, thank you. And coming up next on 25 News Now at 5. Drivers could see lower gas prices this Thanksgiving after a major oil meeting was delayed. Stock markets closed today because of Thanksgiving, and gas prices could drop even more following a 4% drop in oil prices on Wednesday after a scheduled upcoming meeting of the biggest oil-producing nations was delayed. The oil cartel member nations were expected to discuss further cuts to global supply at the OPEC Plus meeting. They have now postponed the meeting until November 30th, but did not give a reason. Experts say the fact that oil prices dropped indicates there may not be full agreement on the scale of output cuts. Small business owners are gearing up for the biggest shopping weekend of the holiday season. Nearly 32 million small businesses are riding a wave of enthusiastic consumer spending and robust government investment. A survey showed 55% anticipate Small Business Saturday will make a significant contribution to their overall holiday sales this year. Over the past 13 years, consumers have reported spending nearly $184 billion during the day. Here's your viewer poll this afternoon. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. Do you plan to shop during Black Friday this year? Yes or no? We want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And I'll have an update on 25 News Now at 6. And stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, Cuero is preparing for the winter holidays with their annual Christmas in the Park event. And now here's a look at what's coming up on World News Tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
West Warriors football players got a shout out from a famous country music star from Conroe. Yeah, you can listen to the video on our Twitter page at Crossroads Today, or hear more about it from sports reporter Zach Brown tonight on 25 News Now at 6. It's late November, and that means the annual Christmas in the Park has begun in Cuero. This holiday festivity starts the Monday before Thanksgiving and continues through New Year's Day. The winter fun event includes free hot chocolate, yeah, a live nativity, there it is, along with thousands of animated Christmas lights. Some tourists think the event in Cuero is better than any other Christmas demonstration around.
The whole Christmas spirit is in here, the secular part and also the religious part. And it's very inspiring. And we're looking forward to going through the whole park to see everything.
Visitors may enjoy a free self-driving tour of the park each night between 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock p.m. But Mac, they do request, they don't push, but they do request for a donation. So if you're going through and want to make a donation, and so many people have, because it's have you ever been through this?
I've never been through it.
Oh, Mac.
I mean, I go by the highway a lot, but I don't go through it. But with Sister's seal of approval, I think we need to go, you know. If she blessed it, then it's okay.
It is really worth it, I tell you. It's really awesome.
The good thing, it feels like driving through the holiday candy lane there kind of thing, because we're going to still be on the cool side of things. Every evening is going to be chilly, and tomorrow will be a little bit warmer than we've seen in quite a while. In fact, by Saturday we might get up to 68, 70 degrees, but I'm just giving everybody a heads up. I expect rain most of the day on Sunday. Sunday's the day everybody drives back home or to work, and I just want you to keep that in mind as you start planning. And it's going to be only 59 on Sunday, so yeah, it's going to feel like the holidays.
So if you need to drive on Sunday, do you get an earlier start, a later start?
A careful start because the rain comes in really Saturday night, midnight.
Okay.
And it'll be with us most of the day. So it's windy, it's cold, it's wet. And, you know, it's not so much that it's going to be a huge downpour. It's just, you know, somebody slips and then the whole thing sort of backs up, and it might not have been your fault. And just so to be cautious and just to plan ahead, you know. If it's going to be cold, you take a jacket. If it's going to be raining, you slow down your speed a little bit.
There you go. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for being with us. We'll see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.